Hello guys, it's Paula, and I'm here today to introduce what my next book is going to be. Now, this book is going to be, can you guess? A sewing book. Now, I found this really cute sewing paper and buttons and just all kinds of goodies. Paint splotches, which has nothing to do with... I was really disappointed in this paper pack because really it only had 3 sewings. It's supposed to be sewing and crafts, but I think it's more crafts. But these 3 are really cute, and I have some digitals. So the paper is taken care of. But I just wanted to show you what it was going to look like. Now that's the paper. I have 3 different fabrics. I have this, okay, and I have this, which has quilts and crochet and, you know, stuff like that. And then I have this really pretty fabric. Has sewing machine, says it's stitching time. It's definitely just a sewing fabric. Okay, so those are the fabrics that I have, and you're probably thinking, what fabric would you use on a 3-ring binder? Which is what I'm going to use, so I'm going to show you that next. I have this 3-ring binder. I actually have another one that's different, but this is my favorite of the 2, and I wanted to do it first, and then I can take being sad about getting rid of it over before I do the second one. And this book is copyright in 1970 something, so 72, which is the year I got married, which is I think 46 years ago. So anyway, this is just so colorful and beautiful. I cleaned it up, so it's in pretty good condition. You know, it's just got the natural old look, but it's not torn up or anything. So I'm not leaving every single thing in here. Has a lot of cute little tabbed pages. Her 70s bell bottoms. So I'm going to use a little bit of 50s, but mostly 60s and 70s in this book. And there's, you know, it's going to be hard for me to take anything out, and it is filled to the brim. I mean, literally, I had to take the index out of the back for sure. But look at all these fun images. Look at those bell bottoms and that jacket with the fringe on it. It looks like it might be a suede jacket. It's definitely in the 70s. And so I've got some patterns from the 70s. And I've got, let me get those out so I can show you. Okay, I've got different patterns. I don't know which ones are which, just looking at them. This, I believe, is 60s. Some of them don't have the dates on them, but I can look at them and tell because I lived my life in the 60s and 70s. Let's see. But anyway, and then this is definitely 70s. Can you believe this? Remember that? When they had all those, probably 60s, 60s, nope, 1976, right there. So, I kind of guessed it right, didn't I? Here's some teenage simplicity patterns that are from no date. No date on these, but I can tell it's about the same time. It was only 65 cents. When have you paid 65 cents for a pattern? I think the cheapest one in here is 65 cents. Here's a 75 cent, 65 cents. This one is $1.75. It's from Canada. This one, all that part is torn off. But it is, let's see, 1975. Love it. I think this one is 1976. This is when evening gowns came into real play. Okay, and this Butterick, let me see if it has a date. No, it doesn't. But it literally is falling apart. So we're going to make some things out of the patterns too. And here is one I never heard of. Advance. 25 cents. It beats them all. But look at these little girl dresses. And look at the pattern. It's so different. I haven't even opened this. It was sealed. I don't know if that means something great. Okay, and I have the work baskets. This first work basket, I believe, is from the 70s or the 60s. Let me look. 1959. This is the 50s part of it. Yeah. 1959. October, it was 15 cents. Isn't that crazy? Now, this one is from the month I was born, forever ago. I've had this forever and hung on to it, but I think it's time to, it was 15 cents too, to move along. So, that is that part of it, and the paper. I'm going to show you this bag. Now, I have way more than this, but this is the things I've picked out for this particular sewing project. You can see all these goodies. Like, this is very old and vintage too. I'm trying to remember the date. I thought I found the date on this one. One of them I have has the date. But anyway, it's pretty old. Look at the pictures in it. They look like they're from the 50s. But there's a lot of old, this is an old postcard I have. And see, it actually is showing that it's from 1974. So I'll use it in some way, even if maybe we collage it right in here. We'll see. We'll see what we can do with that. And it goes on and on. So I'm not going to show you every little detail, because what fun would that be? A lot of this I got out of my mom's sewing basket, but I have way more. So you can see that's just like a vintage waiting to happen. And these did come out of my mom's. All of these did. My mom used to take the zippers out. Here we go, Mom. I'm talking about you again. Her birthday's in September, so maybe that's, I know it's coming up. Not September. She died in September. Her birthday's in October. Got to get these things straight. Okay. Anyway, she would take zippers out of old clothes. Clothes that weren't wearable anymore. And are out of style. She'd take the zippers out and she'd use the fabric to make quilts. And I was really the one in the family, one of the kids in the family. I was the baby of the family. I was very interested in learning to sew. So my first crafting thing other than coloring and coloring books was sewing. So my mom sat me down, taught me how to sew. And then when I got it old enough to go do the, what is it called? I just went blank. Where you cook at school, you sew at school, home ec. Anyway, so this is just a part of a measuring tape, but it came out of my mom's. I think I kept the rest of it because I didn't, they used to just be yellow. Do you remember that? This is what Mom used to roll to put the lines on the patterns onto the fabric. She'd use a carbon. Look at this old Singer needle. There is one there for a Singer sewing machine. But anyway, there's hook and eyes, buttons. Of course, this thread came out of my mom's. I couldn't give this away, but, and it's not going to go in a book. It won't fit in there, first of all. This little elastic was in there, lots of buttons. And I'm not going to give any more secrets away. I think you've seen enough. But I also have some other things. So this is just the first look at what I've got. This is very, very old fabric. I got in an estate sale, and it appears to be definitely from the 60s and 70s. I recognize those old prints. So this will go in the book somehow. Are you ready? I bought this to put in this book. I found a bunch of old vintage fabric, and I bought this especially for this 70s book. Whoa! Close your eyes, it's bright in here. Isn't that cool? Does that not remind you of Laugh-In with Goldie Hawn in there doing the go-go dance? And I forget the other one. Is it Twiggy? Yeah, Twiggy. And here's an old kitchen fabric. Look at that. That speaks old too. And here is another different type of old 70s fabric. Believe it or not, this butterfly fabric is from the same basket of goodies that I bought. I think all of these came out of the same basket. And from what the people said, they thought it was from the 60s and 70s. Oh, here's some more of that. And then look at this. Yikes. Some of these, they're not permanent press. So you can tell that they're, you know, this feels different. It might be the, what do they call it? Seed bag? No, I don't remember. But anyway, and here is another kitchen curtain fabric. Look at that little design. This is another kitchen curtain fabric. Do you remember stuff like this? My problem is where am I going to find where am I going to use all this different cool stuff? I'll just put little parts of it in somewhere. This is from the 70s. You can tell it's not permanent press either. This came in the same. See, this is somebody tore their clothes apart too. See? I have some jackets that are made out of this same type of fabric that have been torn apart. So here, I put a piece of this on my quilt for my digital, but that screams 60s. Look at that poor chicken. Oh, there's the rooster. But yeah, this one is really, really old. And the last one that I have as far as fabrics go, which is definitely 70s too, is this. So that's the fabrics. There's a bunch. And so I haven't figured out how I'm going to use anything yet. Hadn't thought about it that much. But this is going to be a 3-ring binder. And you saw the book with the butterfly and so forth. This came out, this article I'm holding up right here came out of a 1970s in really bad shape Simplicity magazine. But I was real disappointed that they didn't have Simplicity ladies in it. You know, usually you find the ladies in there. This came in an idea book, an ideals book, Grandma's Quilt. It's a cute little story, and I thought it would be fun, so it's going in somehow, some way. And I've been collecting just vintage photos and postcards and different things. I've been collecting them since I started doing journals. Now this I printed off something. I don't know where. I couldn't tell you. Look at this little lady. Is that not adorable? It's like a picture of a painting, it looks like. An old painting or something. Here's the Simplicity magazine that this came out of. This is the cover. This is the best thing I got, and it's really not in great condition. Let me get where you can see. See how it's bent? But I am going to put it in as a page. So, and then I've got some digitals, you know, and I don't know if that's all, but that's all I see in front of me right now. I will get other things as I feel like I need them off the shelves. And yeah, so let me find the book. It's under here somewhere. I could not tell you right now where it's at, but let me get some of this out of here so it can live through this whole process. Let me move this over. Don't want anything to get torn up. Okay, and get my old patterns out of the way. I think we're going to make patterns. We're going to make embellishments with some old patterns. I saw Tracie Fox do that once, and I thought it was a genius idea. Tracie, she has, her little head is just working all the time with designs. I have a hard time just pulling it out of my head. Sometimes I can. I have good days, but I've always been that way. If I look at it, I can paint it. If I see it, you know, and look at it, I can make it a lot of times. And it's like, you know, people who play the piano by ear and they never had lessons, but they can sit down and play the piano. I kind of feel like I'm like that with art. And so it's fun. But for sure, you will see this one in there in some form or fashion. Okay? All right. Now, this video is going to come to an end. And I'm going to get busy and come up with some different videos of different things we can do to this bright yellow and navy, no, not navy, turquoise blue book. And I'm going to show you all around the book. I don't know if I did. I know I showed you the binding. Look how big that is. It's like easily 3 inches, I think. Well, I'm wrong. It's 2 1/4. Can you believe that? It just looks so big. I just knew it was bigger. And then this is the back. I love this book because I grew up learning to sew. It was one of the first things. I also loved, I don't know if you guys from the same time, I loved paper dolls like crazy. Every time I could talk my parents into buying me new paper dolls, I would. I'd get lids from Mom's bathroom counter with like the hairspray lids and lipsticks and makeup containers or boxes. And I'd make furniture and pretend with those paper dolls. It was a different time then. You know, I know that, you know, I usually only had one doll and maybe an old raggy one, but only ever had one halfway decent doll. And I'd have to have it till it was falling apart pretty much. So at Christmas, we didn't get 10 gifts. We'd get usually like an item we need, like shoes or a coat. And then we'd get like a Monopoly game or some game. And in one year, my brother and I got a bicycle. It was the only time we ever got a bike. And my sister worked at TGNY. And so my brother and I, decide we want to ride our bike down to TGNY. And so we did. And mine was purple with sparkled banana seat. And I don't remember what color my brother's was. I was too involved in my own. And we took our bikes down and we parked in a safe place. And we were just going to run in and come out. My brother hung his coat on his handlebars. And we went in literally less than 10 minutes. And we came out and my bike was gone. We never found it. My dad got in the car with my brother and searched everywhere. Down by the riverbanks and, you know, in the woods, if there was very many woods. But he was going up and down alleys, just anywhere he could to try to find my bike, because it was a big stretch for them to get us bikes that year. And that was super exciting. And so my brother had his. I got on his banana seat. Even guys had them back then. And we rode home. I cried all the way home. And he would just pat me every now and then. And of course, when my dad saw me crying about it, he got out and tried to find it. And they weren't in a position to get me another one. I shouldn't have parked it there. I should have had a lock. I should have locked it up. Of course, they didn't get me a lock. But anyway, all of that said to say, I love sewing. I'm not super great at it. I mean, I can sew, but I'm not, you know, crazy good. I made my daughter 2 little dresses, or maybe 3 when she was little. And I made my son 2 little polyester suits. And I had pictures of him in it. And then I actually found the polyester Christmas one I made him, which was green and red and green. Maybe it was green. And then it had plaid, Christmas plaid in parts of it. It's like a little Western. I don't know. It was in style then. What can I say? There was a pattern. But my son, he always loved those pictures of him in that little suit. He was too young to remember. He was like 2 or 3. And I think he ended up with one of them. And one of them was navy with a plaid in the other part. And he was so cute in those little suits. But his oldest son actually was at the right age to fit into it, the Christmas one. And we have pictures of him in the little Christmas suit. So those kind of things are special to you, aren't they? I made my daughter a little Bo Peep outfit. I know you guys have seen those over the years. And it was adorable. It had like a petticoat and had the bloomers with the ruffles, or the lace and ruffles around the ankles, and it was red dotted Swiss for the dress, and then it had the white eyelet for the apron and so forth with the ruffles on the shoulder. She looked adorable. And I don't have a picture handy, or I'd show it to you. It hadn't been that long ago I saw it. And the fun fact about that is she gave our pastor that picture. It was like a 5x7. She was so proud of it. We had tons of pictures. You know how it is when you take pictures at the 5 and dime store. And she put it in an old frame we had at the house, and she took it to him, and he put it on his desk. And it was on his desk for as long as we can remember. And plus she did little Bo Peep at school and wore that little dress too. And the other one I made her was yellow and lacy, and it was for a wedding, and she looked adorable. So I don't want to keep boring you with all my memories. Don't ask me why they've hit me the last couple days. But I'm going to get started on this, and I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do the altered book, and then if I have time, I'll do something with the sewing also. But it is a holiday tomorrow, so I may not have a video tomorrow. We'll just see. My husband and I have no plans to go anywhere, and so I'm sure I'll have a chance to do that. I'm going to work on some digitals and different things, so yeah. All right, guys. See you next time. I hope you have fun with me making this sewing book. Bye now.